Hi guys, Lewted host here with another dank stream. Today I'm going to be talking about future guides and you know the possibilities of tournaments in the future. As always, I'm looking out for tournaments, but I haven't been able to find any that I can actually get into. Most of them are like started or made by Russians, so it's hard to understand like the language, but I'm getting there. I know the group, I know the website, I just have to find one.
No great poetry ever won battles. No big speeches can take down the enemy in front of us. That is up to you. Draw your swords, obey my orders, and unleash terror on these pitiful beasts.
So I was playing as the Caledonians, my ally was playing as the Huns. However, he brought an unhunnic-like army, which actually helped us win in a sense. This battle lasted about like over 30 minutes. However, one of the armies got defeated, and then it took us a long time to beat the other one. Anyway, so the Caledonians, if you don't know, from what I'm gathering, they're actually weaker on average against every other faction. But what they do have is guerrilla deployment on every unit, and so you can use that for great ambushes, catch people by surprise, get your charge off, deny them their charge, things like that. I think the Caledonians only have access to sword cav as melee cav, and then they have skirmishers, which I think have spears as well. But yeah, like the Celts are overall, on average, just weaker than every other faction, or every other barbaric faction rather. So anyway, my ally was trying to go behind me, support me on this side, even though I didn't need his support. He just did it anyway. Now, the reason why I stood in the forest is because these archers, the Highland archers, have the snipe ability. If I can just get it up in a second. Basically, what happens is when a unit has a snipe ability, they have the ability to fire while hidden. So it's pretty useful for archers to like avoid slingers. Like, for example, these Armenian slingers who have 175 range and therefore outrange even the archers. I was trying to be as flexible as I could, but I couldn't like close the distance without taking a lot of fire. And so I knew this, and that's why I stood in the forest. However, my ally also decided to come in, even though he didn't have to. Basically, it was just a bunch of maneuvers done by both of us, and then by our opponents as well. Now, the funny thing about the Sassanid Empire is the fact that they didn't bring like a lot of cav. They relied on elite immortals for their anti-cav purpose, but that's about it. I think for the rest of the week I'm gonna be doing Shogun 2 streams, but I'm gonna talk about that later. Sorry about that. That was part of my script. Anyway, back to the game. So the Tanukids are like one of my least favorite factions right now because they're really hard to play as. However, my opponent did a good job playing as them, so I might try this tactic out where it's more defensive than offensive. It's more waiting for your opponent to get to you. And yeah. Now, in anything that's not a one versus one game, your best friend is always teamwork. And most of the times when I'm doing like something other than a one versus one, the opposing team doesn't work as a team. Like they don't try to fight a single army. There are times where they do, but they suffer worse than if they did a one-on-one. Like because I'm an experienced player, I know like how to deal in those with those situations, and so I kind of tip it in my favor sometimes. I allow my ally to like flank or hit the rear, and then I could hold off for a while, depending on which faction I'm playing as. Now, it doesn't work that well in Shogun 2 for a few reasons. Speaking of Shogun 2, I'm still suffering decisive defeats, so it kind of inhibits my willingness to play in Shogun 2. Every now and then I do get better, like I do get good fights, and I did show one before, but it's really, really difficult to beat guys that have been practicing and practicing and have found the meta and have, you know, especially with Fall of the Samurai, it's not really easy. So like I said, my Highland archers are hidden. They're still firing though, so that's good. Now, speaking of guides, I made a Rome 2 guide. It's had 5 people look at it, so that's pretty nice in my opinion. However, at the same time, I'm planning on making an Attila guide. It's just that I need to know each and every faction better. And it will change overall. Because I haven't played the game for like... I've played the game for like 600 hours, and that's not good enough. The only thing I really know about Rome Attila
We have revealed their
is that
concealed men!
it's like Rome 2 in a sense. However, Attila is more cavalry oriented. And I don't know every faction's strengths and weaknesses, so there's also that problem. So as you can see, one of our opponents is going to the corner. The other one is just staying here. I think he knew that he was in a bad situation, and that's why he decided to move. But I was paying attention to the movements, and he didn't know that I had hidden units.
The enemy are ambushing us!
So all I had to do was just move my units up. And this is one of the strengths of the Celts, you know. Unfortunately, I didn't have a spear unit, so I couldn't deter these Clibinari. But Clibinari, you know, from what I'm gathering, the shock cav in this game can even beat spear units on the charge if they're not burst, so you have to be careful of that. Just bring javelins to, you know, defeat them quickly. Anyway, over here, I did catch these units of slingers off guard. I also had my Fianna to support. And this was an important engagement because it did help in the late game. He decided to go straight for my Fianna. They weren't in shield wall, so they couldn't brace properly, but they still would have loot lost against the Mavia's bodyguard.
The enemy engages our ally. Do we help?
Over here, the step bows did get caught by the Armenian slingers, and I wasn't paying too much attention to that. I was paying more attention to here, trying to get the slingers, hurting them as much as I could before pulling out. Like I said, this Fianna was pretty much gone. Like, it's still in the game, but it routed. I was able to get this one to shield wall, so that was good. And then his general over here got a lot of kills on my Fianna. However, he ended up getting surrounded, so getting them out of there was a tough pickle. Eventually, I'm going to end up microing my Highland archers, but I was paying more attention here. And another unit of Fianna, and I was coming up to support with my spear units.
Enemy units have rallied and returned to the battle.
And the main tactic of the Celts is irregular tactics, so just trying to, you know, strike here and strike here. Even guerrilla tactics work really well for them. I moved my Highland archers back because I knew they were taking too much fire.
The men are broken and are fleeing.
My cav did rout, unfortunately. They got a good number of kills though, so I couldn't complain there. I don't think he was monitoring this unit of Clipinari. I think he was too preoccupied trying to get to the corner. I was just paying most of my attention to stopping as much of these Tanukid units as I could because, you know, in a corner, like, pikes are hard to beat, even in Attila. I had a unit of Marmor Cav over here because I was going to deal with their Armenian slingers, but I had to wait for these spear units to go. The Clipinari eventually moved. And yeah, we were able to stop a few units from getting there and damage a few units too. The general got damaged pretty badly. And I think that was a pretty solid engagement. However, like I said earlier, you know, in a situation like this, it's basically a 2 versus 1. On one side, you have the Tanukids that are trying to get to the corner. And basically what that means is that there's a big gap in between the Tanukids and the Sassanids, whereas my army, which is pretty spread out right now but is concentrated over here, can just easily flank the Sassanids, all the while keeping the Tanukids at bay because they don't have the flexibility that I have.
Courage! Back to the fight!
I was trying to get these Armenian slingers because I knew that the Huns were going to have a hard time fighting them. But I also had to pay attention here because this unit of Desert Levy was still there. I almost got the general and I didn't even know that. I was really close to getting the general, but I didn't have enough to actually rout it off the field. what I could have done was I could have continued chasing after the army over here, but I knew that would have been a disaster because he still had Clibinari, so I decided not to and just focus most of my micro on the Sassanids over here. Over here I decided to block the Severan Sadar. Now they went into charging animation before I was able to stop them properly, so they still got a charge off. However, it severely limited them. And over here I was able to get my axes into this unit of immortals. Keep in mind they're not elite immortals, so there's not that, they didn't have the same armor. He did get the charge, but he immediately pulled out, something which actually cost him his general. And over here, all I have to do is just focus on defeating these units and then retreating back into the forest. Because the Tanukids can't really move that much without getting flanked. What I like about Celtic Spearmen is that they're medium, so they're faster than the Immortals, which are very heavy. Celtic Berserkers are light, or very light actually, so they can catch up to like Immortals very, very easily. And yeah, like you just have to work with your lighter speed and your weaker units to get good battles going. Over here I was trying to get the Armenian Slingers. This general unit's gonna rout. I don't think I killed the general though. The general's still alive. These two units are gonna rout soon. And most of my focus came back to here because I noticed that they were going to lose against what the my ally was going to lose to what the Huns, to what the Sassanids had, so I was paying attention there. But I also had to move my units over just in case he tried to overpower the units that I had here. I think a big mistake on the Tanukids' part was not actually attacking these units.
One of our units has gone berserk!
This unit went berserk. And I mean, they did a pretty good job against the Immortals. The Immortals are tough units to crack. Over here I decided to focus, bring one of my Mormor Cav over to help the Berserkers so that they can weaken them and then make them go berserk easier. And yeah, like the Celts and the Slavs have the same things in common, but are really different. Like the Celts have guerrilla deployment, the Slavs don't overall. The Celts have a weak, like they have a fairly solid axe roster, and so do the Slavs. But yeah, like there's some similarities and some differences, and you have to work around them. So of course the Desert Levy do rout. I think I ended up getting these pike units too, so that was good. And I wasn't microing these units properly, so the Mormor Cav ended up just continuing to get the slingers, which I mean wasn't a bad idea, but these Celtic Spearmen ended up stopping because I was trying to micro them and ended up messing up. So like I said, the units ended up going back. I think I did get his Tanukin pikes. I can't remember really. This unit of Mormor Cav has done what it had to do. It tipped the favor into the Celtic Berserkers. The Ifiana over here are losing because, of course, the Elite Immortals have better armor piercing. I decided to drag my unit around so that they can come back and hit the rear of these Elite Immortals. Or actually, no, I think I was going to focus on the units over here, but I can't remember. I then re-microed my units so that they can go for the Armenian Slingers. Celtic Berserkers going after the Immortals.
Some of the men have gone berserk.
Then the Berserkers over here went berserk. And yeah, that was pretty good on my part. I'm not going to show the whole replay because it is pretty long and pretty boring to watch. But this is just a prime example of why you should be careful in 2 versus 2s or 3 versus 3s or 4 versus 4s, because this could happen to you where your opponent decides to split up from you. Because this is what happened in the previous game before this one, where they split up and it actually made them lose. Celtic Berserkers are very hard to make them go berserk. You have to get a very, very good charge with them, and even that might not make them go berserk. Like, Vandal Berserkers can go berserk easily. Scatha's Teachers, which I think I didn't... Yeah, here they are. Scatha's Teachers, these girls, can go berserk very easily because of their charge bonus.
Enemy units have returned to the battle.
Over here I made a slight mistake. I brought my Celtic Spearmen to chase after these Armenian Slingers, but I didn't have to. All I had to do was just make them go into these Celtic Spearmen, to go into these Armenian Slingers. Then I could use this Cav unit to go into the Armenian Slingers, route both of them, and then make my way back over here. Instead, I wasn't microing them too much. I thought that they would have caught up, and they did eventually, but it was all the way over here. However, they were able to come back into the fight, so there's that. But yeah, like, overall, the Tanukids made a big mistake in that regard, where they tried to protect themselves but not help their ally. Like, if they had joined forces, they could have beat the Huns very easily, and obviously without the Huns I'd have a lot of problems. This unit of Clibinari was trying to go for these Berserkers, but I kind of caught it pretty quickly. Again, he doesn't know that my units are hidden, so I have hidden units. All I have to do is just bring this unit of Mormor Cav around, but I wasn't paying too much attention and I brought my Cav too far. However, I did have a unit of spears nearby, so if he wanted to go for my bows, which I thought he was going to go for, all I had to do was bring these spears up and then make them go up against them. Funnily enough, like, it was around this point that the spearmen actually got spotted. And that's extremely close. If it was a Cav unit, I would have been able to have charged in, catch these Clibinari off guard, and then just wreck them from there. He did catch them, so he wasn't going to risk it. And I mean, that was a good idea. That was pretty much it for the Sassanids. Now I did make a mistake here. This is where he actually catches my berserkers off guard. He was trying to get at them for a while, and I thought he was going for my cav unit, but he didn't, and he decided to change course. He got into this one, got a lot of kills, and yeah, but like I said, I won't show you guys the entire replay. It's pointless, you know, it's just us 2 versus 1ing a person, and then 2 versus 1ing another one. Sometimes numbers is all it takes to beat your opponent. Sometimes it takes skill, but it always takes some sort of strategy to win. So just have to know what it takes and beat your opponent currently. Anyway, like I said, I'm probably going to be making a guide for Total War Attila. Before I do that, I'll be making a guide for Napoleon, and then I'll be making a guide for Shogun 2. Well, actually, there doesn't need to be a guide for Shogun 2 because there's already a good one. I'll probably be making a guide for Empire, even though I haven't played Empire that much. Yeah, I can't remember how long I've played Empire for. I won't be doing one on Men of War because it's pointless. I've played Empire for like 680 hours, but that's just because Empire is very sketchy. Like, it's very, very sketchy. It's just like Napoleon, but it's more buggier. I was thinking that I would make a guide if there's another DLC for Total War Attila, which there probably will be because the nomads and the Romans don't have a lot of choices. Like, I mean, historically speaking, it was just the Eastern and Western Roman empires that you have to look at. And for the Huns or the nomads, it was just the Huns. But they added the white Huns even though they didn't have to, and that was pretty nice. Still, I think, like, even the Sassanids, like, they're the only Eastern empire. I think there should be more Eastern empires. Like, maybe they can bring back Parthia, I don't know. For future tournaments, I'll be looking for Rome 2 ones in particular, maybe even Napoleon ones. I remember when I was trying out for the clan, I got beaten almost very closely, but yeah, like, and after that battle, I reformed my tactics, and to this day, I've been using the same tactics that the person used against me. It's been very effective. I won a lot of Napoleon times. I lose a few too. I'm still 5-star, which is fun, because I don't use super meta armies. But anyway, Axum to White Huns, that's a lot of factions to look over, but it's not the same amount that Rome 2 has, so I should probably get started on that. The only factions I probably wouldn't do are the Roman Expedition and After Gothic Kingdom, just because they're DLC, but who knows, I might, so. But yeah, like, obviously there's a lot of work that has to be done, so it's gonna take a while. Just like the Rome 2 guide, it took me 3 days to actually finish it, even though I did have it prepared. There are not a lot of good games. There are not a lot in Attila. See, this guy I was fighting against earlier this morning, and I got a nice victory against him and somebody else. Then I ended up losing to him because my ally brought a bad army. I'm not going to be playing as the Garamantians or Chanukids for a while. They're really hard to win as. I haven't won as the Eastern Roman Empire like twice, or maybe 3 times, I can't remember. So I'm going to try to win as them again. The Franks are still my favorite faction in this game. They were the first guys I used in my campaign. I did the Frankish campaign and the Grand Campaign, got a military victory and cultural victory with them there. In the last Roman, I got a minor and military victory with them, and in Age of Charlemagne, I got a short victory, but not a long victory because you don't need to get one. There's no different cinematic if you do. Your core unit for the Eastern Roman Empire does cost 100 more talents than your core, most of the times your core unit for the Western Roman Empire. The Western Roman Empire seems to benefit more from swords play and like your typical Roman infantry than the Eastern Roman Empire do. The Eastern Roman Empire are more Greek, so it makes sense. However, of course, there are no hoplites by this time and age because the hoplite phalanx has been outdated. And it's been proven ineffective against the Romans, so yeah. Still, my core tends to be Eastern Armored Legio. For their price and for what they can do, they're pretty effective. You just have to be careful against armed axes, except double-handed axes because they have precursors, but single-handed axes, you have to be careful. Lancers, you have to be careful. It's always a good idea to bring javelins. Levies Ture are fairly decent, but I don't know if bringing them would be a good idea. In a battle like this, it might be. But like I said, hammer and anvil strikes are the way to go as this faction, which means that you have to win cav engagements. The Western Roman Empire can't do that effectively, but the Eastern Roman Empire can, thanks to the Tagamata cavalry. Equites Promoti still have their use. I'd probably bring like 2 Tagmatas and then 2 Cataphractari and call that it. I don't know if I should have a front line of Legio. It might be a good idea against the Western Roman Empire because it weakens them before the Eastern Roman Empire closes the distance, but I don't know. Noble Germanic Swordsman as a core is a fairly good idea. Noble Germanic Swordsmen can be cost effective, but you have to know how to use them properly. They can hold for a while. Typhali Cav are very ineffective. Just very, very ineffective, and like, I tried them in one of my battles, and they ended up losing. Like, they lose to infantry very quickly, especially spears. They only have a bonus of 20 versus cav, and I thought it was 30, and I think it used to be 30, but now it's just 20. I might have to check my old replays to see if it was. The Langobards I like playing as. They're like the Swebby in Rome 2. They use clubs, which have a bonus against infantry. In Attila, I think it also affects their weapon damage, but I don't know if like single-handed axes also get that bonus. Chances are they don't because, you know, they still like lose to certain sword units, but it really depends now. Because single-handed axes are really good against spear units. Cohors. I never used cohors. Probably would never recommend them either. Legio committed tensis. Fairly decent. I think I'll just stick with Legio. Like I said, overall the Romans still rely on sword units. However, the Western Roman Empire relies more on them as well as like other auxiliaries. The Eastern Roman Empire has good cav, and they're good at hammer anvil tactics. I'd never bring the Eastern Auxiliary Palatina. Then again, they could be useful, but I'm gonna refrain from them. Oh yeah, I forgot I have access to the Hetera Guard. I don't like bringing more than one, or actually bringing more than two. Because then you start relying on them, and that's when the problems start. Their armor is pretty bad, but their health is very high, and so they can last a very long time. Just have to be careful that they don't get tired, because that's when they start suffering. I'm switching sides because I played against him, so I want to play against him again. I need... The Franks have access to the Germanic archers, so bringing my own archers probably isn't a good idea. I rarely bring Ballistari. It's a risk, it really is. I'm gonna risk it, because I never bring Ballistari. Ballistari are good infantry killers, but they lose very quickly to archers and slingers. They're better than javelin men for killing infantry, but they can't kill cavalry that well, in my opinion. And I also wanted to talk about the Danes because they have access to the wolf colts, and I don't really like wolf colts at all. Like, they're good in the role that the explorators have, but that's basically it. So my main tactic is still the hammer and anvil approach. I have to be careful of the sweating, mainly because they have good sword units. They will die quickly to cataphracts, but they have over 100 morale, so they won't rout unless the general dies and they get hit in the rear and a bunch of other morale stuff. I actually haven't looked at the Western Roman Empire's army. So most people tend to bring spam armies where it's not diverse and you don't have a nice selection. Herculani Signores are good. However, an army like this is really easy to beat with the Franks. All they have to do is use a Royal Estrationes frontally and then flank with a few axes, and that's it. The only reason I say that bringing crossbow is risky is because if they have like a lot of missiles, then obviously you're going to suffer in that regard. Now the main tactic in this battle is pretty simple. Just tank and tank and tank some more. It's possible to beat the Franks without even using Eastern Armored Legio, but I brought them because Sword Here Band costs more and they're more offensive. They will probably lose in a prolonged fight if I can get them exhausted though, so that's why I have a front line of low tier units that will last a fairly long time, followed by another line, which will be my main source of holding. If the Eastern Armored Legio route before I can do my combined arms tactics and hammer and anvil strikes, then I have no hopes of winning. Even Hitera Guard, you know. Whoops. I have to micro them pretty well. It's actually a good idea to keep your Eastern Armored Legio at a fairly good distance because when units are charging frontally, what happens is because these guys now have the same range as 3 spears in Rome 2, they can throw their precursors at a farther distance than units that are charging. However, the Franks still have throwing axes which have 100 armor piercing and 25 bonus versus infantry, so you have to be careful of that. You know, on the charge, they're very dangerous in that respect. But even defensively, they're dangerous. It's one of the biggest reasons I like the Franks. They're just a dangerous faction. I think I should have brought Equites promoted. Like, my cavalry contingent is pretty weak, but that's where my spears come in. The Romans are really fun in this game, but they're so hard to win with. I gotta get that.
Those wild creatures over there are not true men, but pig-spawned beasts of the forests and wastes. They may walk as men, and even talk like men after a fashion, but do not be fooled. Be wary, and be prepared!
Advance at speed!
Alright, I'm back. And from looking at my allies' army. Like, I mean, I knew he was gonna bring this. Like, they both brought really bad armies.
Melee horsemen!
Now, why do I say that? Okay, so you have Herculani Senores as a back line, followed by another line. Your front line is Western Auxiliary Palatina. What this means is he's probably going to use these Herculani Senores to throw their precursors into the units that come. But he has to keep in mind that he's going up against the Suebi. So, actually, no, these are the Franks. Brought Germanic pikes. That's pretty interesting. In all cases, I'm at a disadvantage in the missile fight, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Typhali Cav are so bad though, but I know why he brought them. They have bows, so they're kind of like Hunnic in that aspect.
Missile infantry ready! By your command! Cataphractoriae!
A frontal charge by my cataphracts would end these guys, but he still has his own
Tagmata!
cav, so there's that problem.
Riders, at the double!
He's brought a fair amount of cav. I love how he like clicked on my units so he can get into range of them. So actually, this is really weird because in a sword fight, I actually probably win against these guys, which means that I don't have to worry about having a yeah, I don't have to worry about that. He's gonna end up getting into range of my Ballistari. Obviously, I don't want that to happen.
Ready for orders. Quick march! Your orders.
We obey!
Battle group disbanded! Disbanding battle group!
He's getting a little too close, I think.
Ballistariae!
Yeah, he's actually gotten into range of my Ballistari.
Legio Parati!
Orders. March!
And I'm actually not gonna I'm not gonna risk that because, well, actually I am, but I'm gonna wait until he gets into range.
Anyone who breaks formation will be punished!
Tribunus! Ave! Ordinem!
Yeah, I'm not gonna risk it, but I am gonna push up now that he's gone too far.
Quickly now!
Because basically, like in a calf fight, he'd lose with these noble Germanic. No, those are too felly. So yeah, he'd definitely lose.
For Rome! Your orders! Fire at will!
Turn fire a little back on. These Typhali Cav are caught out of place. Makes my life a bit easier.
Ballistariae! Advance at speed!
Ready. Advance at speed.
Legio!
As long as he wastes
Riders at your command!
his arrows on my spears, I don't really mind.
Balistarii!
Cohorts parati.
I don't know why he's still in range of my Ballistari.
Missiles!
There's a
ready and
reason why I
waiting.
don't have them spread out, you know.
Balistarii!
Yeah, they're in range now, so there's that. Now he's gonna get flanked because of what? Oh gosh.
Yours to command! Balistarii! Balistarii!
Of course, Ballistari do take a long time to reload, so there's that.
Missile infantry at your command!
Waiting to fire.
They fire every 30 seconds, I think, when barrage is on.
Balistarii!
Now would be good time to go into
Spread
this
out!
formation.
Ordnance.
Orders! Missiles ready and waiting! Loose formation! Double time!
If he's honestly going to charge,
Armored Legio!
We obey. Mandata tua.
like, I'm not going to stop him from charging into my Ballistari, but I mean, that's a bad idea.
Roma Invicta!
Especially after that volley, he's going to take a lot of casualties. But I mean, I don't really mind it.
Legio! Commander!
I mean, these are elite guys, so he's going to end up taking a lot of casualties. And not only that, but he has frenzy on, so it gets even worse.
Missile infantry ready! Withdraw!
Our men flee the field of battle. This
They're
is a
very
shameful
tough, though, I will
display.
give them that. But this is not worth it at all.
At your service.
I'm still going to need precursors.
Yes, Commander.
Legio!
That was a
Fire
pretty
at anyone.
bad engagement. He practically wasted a good unit just to get rid of Ballistari. I'd never recommend anyone do that.
By your command!
Like, it's not worth it, honestly.
Defensive testudo!
You shouldn't try to do the same thing. Because he wasted that Swebby Cav unit, all I really have to do is use my Tegmata against the front lines and the Counterfactari against these guys, and everything should be fine.
Ready and waiting.
Like, these guys have 101 kills.
Our ally is under attack from the enemy!
Like, why would you try to do what he did? You saw the results. It's not a good idea.
Ready for orders. Dominate!
Commander.
See, he's gonna get defeated really quickly. And he's wasting these Skull-Egg Gentiles trying to get into these archers. Actually, you know, he's actually going for the Noble Germanic Swordsman.
Legio! Ready. Ready and waiting. Who fired them?
I wouldn't recommend that. Like, these guys are in shield wall, yes, but like Skull-Egg Gentiles are light. Not only that, but their armor is pretty bad. Doing this is a bad idea, especially because there's a cav unit right there. But I mean, hey, you know, what do I know?
Tight formation.
I can use this opportunity to do a number on his front line.
Legio!
Actually, no, I should do that.
Quick march.
First break the group.
Horse Parati! Obediamus!
See, if there's a complete encirclement, we're gonna lose. So I have to quickly win over here and hope that that doesn't happen. These Germanic archery are in range of my Legio, so I have to move quickly.
Advance at speed. Balistarier. Legio!
Now one of our allies is left.
Ready and waiting. Mandata Tua! Balistarier!
I mean, this is one of the reasons why I don't like team games, because you always have those people that, you know, just don't know how to handle certain situations, and instead of trying, they just
Legio!
quit, you know. And now I don't know what to do because we're basically going to get outflanked. However, we can still beat this faction and then turn the flanks around, but our back would be to this red line, so I have to be careful there.
Missile infantry. Orders. Ready.
Defensive testudo! Ready.
Oh, we have to hurry up though. I don't think I can use my armored Legio as a front line. I might have to use them just in case, like, I get flanked by these noble Germanic swordsmen. But that probably won't happen. But we have to attack now.
Roma Invicta! Cohors Parati! Lanciarii Signore! Ave! March!
Whoops.
On me!
I don't know why that happened.
Carrier! Domine! Ready and waiting!
I don't think I'll need these 3 units. So I'm going to protect the rear of the AI. But I have to get rid of these
Advance
cav
at
units.
speed!
If I don't, then this is going to be impossible.
Orders! Ordinem! Quickly now! Etiam! Cataphractoriae!
I see an opening, I'm going to take it.
Ready! Stamplo! Mandata tua! We obey! Yours to commence! Roma Invicta!
He's going to try to get them back,
Hail!
but it's not going to work.
Mandata tua! Double time! Ready. Orders. Six Domine. Forward. Extempo. Attack me. Your orders. Cohors Parati. Domine.
Didn't take a lot of casualties on my cataphracts, so I can still charge them.
At the double. Ave. Ready and waiting.
Your orders?
Your orders?
Enemy units have rallied and returned to the battle.
Mandata tua! Victoriae!
Our allies' general is struck down.
Lanciarii, senores!
Capture Victoriae! Forward! Commander!
There's a small gap right here, and I can go through that. So I'm going to. There's also another one right here, so I'm going to try to get that general.
Legio march! Legio!
They are trying to take out our general. Defend him.
Legio! Ordinem! Domine!
Advance!
Tribunus! Hail!
As you command!
Armored Legio! Ordinem! Mandata tua! Cohors Parati! Mandata tua! Sic Domine! Sic Domine! At speed! Legio Parati! Double time! Legio!
Lanciarii, senores!
Sic Domine!
Sic Domine! At speed! Legio Parati! Terminate! Riders at your command! Great!
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
Lanciarii, signore! By your command! What?
Pater Fractoriae!
Extemplo!
Advance at speed!
Hail!
Glory!
The enemy have rallied their units!
Signore!
Quickly now!
Armored Legio!
Tribunus!
Obediamus! Tribunus! The men are broken and running for their lives! Cohors Parati!
Your orders!
Ready and waiting. Gate! Comes! Riders advance! Break off!
Mandata tua!
Orders!
Our ally has fled! We are abandoned!
Parati! Comes!
Your orders!
Etiam!
Roma Invicta!
Pater Fractoriae! Ready for orders! Yes,
Our men have regrouped!
Pater Fractoriae! Clean out! Orders! March!
Black Day! Our ally has been routed!
Understood!
Tribunus! The men have broken and are fleeing!
Commander! Ready and waiting!
Commies! Obidiamus! Domine!
Commander!
And the double!
Etiam!
Ready!
Legio!
On my order, withdraw!
Your orders? Yours to command.
Extemplo! Etianie, senores!
On time!
Gate! Commies! We obey! Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shameful display. At speed! Tribunus! Armored Legio! Let me! Tagmata! Armored Legio! Quick march! At speed! Commies! Armored Legio!
Commander!
Ave!
Yes, Commander!
Diamond formation! Etianie, senores! Advance at speed! We obey! Domine! Quick march!
And the double!
Armored Legio!
March!
Speed! We obey!
Engage!
Legio Parati! Armored Legio!
And the double!
At speed!
At speed!
The men have broken and are fleeing! Etianie, senores! Double time! Quick march! Enemy units have been rallied!
Tribunes, lance and speed!
Cohors Parati!
At the double! Orders understood!
I think I messed up my microphone again, but I'm going to continue
Commies!
because it doesn't matter.
Glory! Commies! Tribunus! Legio! Hail! Ready for orders! Armored Legio! Rome! Armored Double time! What's the command? Ordinem! Advance!
Etiarie, señores!
Double Your orders?
Extempo!
Ready and waiting. Forward! Commies!
The enemy general is dead!
Commies!
Sic Domine!
Armored Legio! Brace! Extend advance at speed! Commies! March!
Sic Domine!
Legio! At speed! Orders!
Trying to go for my general here.
Armored Legio!
Good thing I already spotted that from like a mile away.
Quick march! Commies!
Mandata!
Quickly now!
Commander!
Ready!
Lanciarii, Signore!
Extemplo!
Armored Legio! Defensive Testudo!
Comes!
We wait your command.
Melee troops!
That's it. That's a good game.
Melee cavalry!
Bullets!
Lanciarii, Signores!
Cohors parati! Orders understood!
Mandata tua!
Comes!
Advance at speed!
Ready and waiting!
By your command!
By your command! Sic Domine!
Commander!
Extemplo! Ave!
We obey!
Orders! Advance at speed!
I'm actually surprised that my Eastern Armored Legio did most of the killing.
Melee cavalry
My Coman's
ready.
also got like a lot of kills, but that's from the archers. Overall, it's really surprising.
Spearmen at the ready!
Enemy units have returned to the battle!
Advance!
Oh, yeah, that's practically it. The fact that he brought such a bad army and still was able to survive for this long is just really ridiculous. Honestly, you'd be better off using melee cav against axes.
Legio! Tribunus!
At the top!
They have the upper hand, but we will prevail!
Melee troops!
Roma in victor!
Just love taking these screenshots.
Do not let them regroup!
That's pretty much it,
Yours to
honestly.
command.
I don't think there's much anything else we can do.
Obidiamus!
As you command!
But I'm surprised. My Eastern Armored Legio, for the most part, survived. One of them did get massacred, but the other ones survived, and that's pretty surprising. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the stream here. And sorry for the people that are watching and I didn't say hi to. I wasn't really paying attention to the chat. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked it, make sure you I don't know. I don't think I have a subscribe button yet. But in the near future I hopefully will. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and that's pretty much it. So thanks again guys for watching, and I'm going to see you guys probably tomorrow. Bye guys.